and welcome back to the unit. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to build your outlines from bullet points to paragraphs. The best way to do that is to just read through some examples, and we're going to do that right now. So let me share screens with you, and a few things to note. Number one, the opinions stated in my examples are not necessarily my opinions. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. It doesn't really matter. Learning how to write from any perspective is a really good critical thinking exercise. So do not assume that what I have written here in my examples is my opinion. Just take it for what it is. You will see in my examples many different kinds of opinions because that just makes for a flexible mind and a good way to write. So, from outline to paragraph. First, oh, I skipped ahead. First, let's talk about paragraph structure. Once again, you've heard me talk about paragraph structure a million times at this point, and no surprise, we're going to be using paragraph structure, but tweaked to our purposes here. Our paragraphs need to start with a topic sentence, which in this case will be the answer to every question that we that we have asked of each section. Every section is a question, and our topic sentence will be the answer to that question, followed by our support, 1, 2, or 3 examples from your sources to support your statement, and then your conclusion or transition. So let's look at the 2 paragraphs I've already built into bullet-pointed outline paragraphs, for example. The American dream is the struggle for the poor. So this is my paragraph where I asked to define the American dream, to illustrate the American dream using a piece of media. And I have used Fievel, An American Tail, a classic 1986 animated film. You may or may not know it. So my response to the question, what is the American dream? And I say the American dream is the struggle for the poor and the marginalized to thrive and build a life for themselves. Now I need to prove that in my paragraph. A film, Fievel is a film, so this is my formal outline, but it doesn't need to be written in full sentences. A film that explains the American dream in terms kids can understand, Fievel, An American Tail. It is a 1986 animated film. I need to include contextual information, introductory information. Early 1900s European immigration during the Russian pogroms, which I may or may not get to in my example. And a Russian mouse family flees to, oppression to the US, oppression in new forms, sweatshops and organized crime. Mice work together to create ethical work and overthrow the mob. Freedom has to be fought for. So here is my topic sentence, right? Here are all of the points that I need to cover as my supporting example. And here is the conclusion that I'm going to draw, right? So here it all is as a paragraph. Fievel, An American Tail is a 1986 animated film that illustrates the traditional model of the American dream. So note, when I name a source for the first time, I absolutely must, I have to include the full title, and I have to include the proper contextual information. So all contextual information is not always like the name of everyone involved and when it was made and why it was made. For now, for our purposes here, the name of the title and the year that it was made is good enough for us. I don't need to say the director, so I'm not going to say the director or the writer. Illustrates the traditional model of the American dream. A family of mice are forced to flee the cats of their home country, Poland, at the turn of the century, a time when Jews were being persecuted by the Polish government and likewise fleeing to America. They arrive to America to find new forms of oppression in sweatshops and organized crime. With the help of a wealthy mouse, the poor immigrant mice are able to trick the sweatshop owning rat and his cat mafia onto a boat headed for China. The story of people starting with nothing, seeking help from an investor, and carving out a slice of American success out of the hands of corrupt employers and criminals. Highlights the American dream's central tenet. Freedom is for everyone. It has to be fought for. So notice I have my topic sentence, very simply explaining that I'm going to be illustrating the American dream. I have my summary. This is my summary of the film, where I summarize the entire film in, I think it's 3 sentences, right? And then finally, I have my concluding sentences, wrapping it up all into the point that I want to make, right? Which supports directly my thesis, right? Freedom is for everyone, but it has to be fought for. Supports my thesis. Oh, I didn't include, oh. We'll talk about thesis later. Let's do that one more time. Is the American dream realistic? Is the next paragraph that comes in the essay. And my answer to that is yes, it is already realized and achieved by the poorest. Gerstle and Sarkeesian prove poor can come together to create success, like in Fievel. Stronger family ties than wealthy whites. Courtney Martin's redefinition of the good life is important here. And the American dream is not just realistic, but it is realized. All right, so here it all is together. Note the subtle changes between what comes in my outline and what comes in my paragraph, right? Certain information makes it to the final draft and certain information does not. The American dream is a realistic model for people of all backgrounds. Notice that I'm not opening the paragraph with the question. I'm not saying, is the American dream realistic? Yes, it is realistic. You don't have to treat every paragraph like a prompt, right? Just open with the answer and it'll explain itself. The American dream is a realistic model for people of all backgrounds. In their essay, The Color of Family Ties, Naomi Gerstle, and Natalia Sarkeesian provide numerous examples of low-income people of color creating strong family bonds and helping each other to survive despite personal setbacks. They cite pregnant women opting out of marriage because they have broad networks of familial support and marriage does not guarantee the same assistance. This echoes one of Courtney Martin's main points in her TED Talk, The New American Dream, where she explains that our immigrant ancestors have always pulled together to make sure every mouth gets fed. Gerstle and Sarkeesian may argue that the poor single mother has been left out of the economy, but Martin reminds us that the network that the mother relies on has always been one of the foundation blocks of the American dream. All right, let's notice a few things. First, my topic sentence right here. My topic sentence here, right? That the American dream is realistic for people of all backgrounds. Now, my support comes from 2 different sources. In one source, I name a specific example of support that they mention in a couple of sentences. And in my second point of support, I use another source to respond to Gerstle and Sarkeesian, right? And in my concluding sentences, I wrap up the whole thing to make the point that I originally wanted to make, right? That the American dream is a realistic model for all backgrounds. So see, these paragraphs are kind of a perfect loop, right? We don't repeat ourselves, we reinforce our points. Also note, so I'm pretending that this is the first paragraph where I'm naming The Color of Family Ties and where I'm naming Courtney Martin's TED Talk. If it's the first time in the essay where I'm naming these things, then I have to say the title and I have to say the first and last names of the author. If it were not the first time, I could simply refer to the authors by their last name, and I wouldn't even have to mention the title of the piece, so long as I've already done it the first time they were mentioned in the essay, okay? So that's it. That's what I've got for you in building our outlines into paragraphs. Please keep in mind that you do not need to outline the entire, you do not need to speak generally about the entire source, right? The better writing is the writing that makes use of specific examples, okay, and details. All right, I'll keep this video short, and good luck.